And did you know that some 401k plans allow you to contribute more than the personal contribution limit? And it's called an after tax contribution. So there's the Roth 401k, traditional 401k, and there's the after tax 401k contribution. If you take a look at the My Financial Independence Checklist, step 7 is to max out your 401k or other employment or employee retirement account. And step 8 is to achieve a 50% gross savings rate to achieve financial independence and retire early. And I was able to contribute a heck of a lot more money to my 401k in 2017, 2018, and 2019 using the Mega Backdoor Roth strategy. And why would anyone contribute more to the 401k? My reason was simple, okay? I was so behind on my 401k contributions in 2017 when I was 31 years old. And I had just paid off over $110,000 in consumer debt in 2016. And it took me another 5 months to max out my emergency fund. And I couldn't start maxing out my Roth IRA and 401k contributions until the beginning of 2017 when I completely eliminated my debt and other liabilities. And I achieved financial stability in 2018 when I started saving over 50% of my income towards retirement and early retirement and other investment vehicles. But anyway, this is how a mega backdoor Roth generally works. You need to first check with your employer to see if they give you the option to make after tax contributions to your 401k. Your maximum contribution limit for the 401k in 2023 is actually $66,000 right here, okay? Or 73,500 if you're over the age of 50. Your personal contribution limit that I've been talking about during this live stream is still 22,500 or $30,000 if you're over the age of 50. That part is not going to change, okay, until next year. And your employer contribution can also go into either Roth or traditional 401k with the new 401k law that was just signed by President Biden in 2022. So between the employer contribution and the after tax contribution, you're going to have 43,500 or $51,000 remaining. They can be from your employer or your after tax contribution. So if your employer contributes $6,000, then you need to deduct that from either 66,000 or 73,500 depending on your age. But you have to be careful and not miss out on your employer match. If you contribute all 43,500 to your after tax contribution and 22,500 to your employee contribution, you could miss out on the free employer match. So again, you're going to have to manually calculate how much you get in employer contribution before you making the after tax contribution. I also wouldn't do the Mega Backdoor Roth if my 401k doesn't offer what's called the in-plan rollovers to a Roth 401k or in-service withdrawals to a Roth IRA. And I know this is a bit of a complicated process, so just bear with me while I try to explain it as simply as possible. So with the in-plan rollovers right here, okay, what happens is when you make an after-tax contribution, your money can convert from after-tax money to a Roth 401k. So generally, only the portion of the conversion that represents earnings on after-tax money would be subject to ordinary income tax. The 5-year rule also applies to the in-plan rollover from after-tax dollars to Roth dollars. You just have to wait at least 5 years before you can make any withdrawal from that pot of money. What I would prefer to do is make an in-service withdrawal from the 401k after-tax contribution to a Roth IRA. And I did this with my previous employer who had Vanguard managing my 401k at the time. So I basically opened a Roth IRA with Vanguard and have it connected to my 401k. The Roth IRA was much easier because all I had to do was automatically move my after-tax contribution from my 401k to the Roth IRA. And it was like an automatic rollover from 401k to Roth IRA every single year. I didn't owe any taxes on the rollover because I already paid taxes on the after-tax contribution. But unfortunately, only about 27% of 401k employers offer this type of service. And I was really fortunate to have the Mega Backdoor Roth option so that I could catch up on my 401k contributions for all the years I spent paying off my debts. And if you're a high income earner making $200,000 or more a year in gross income, you should ask your employer if they offer what's called a 401k after tax contribution. And I trusted Vanguard because that broker has been around for a long time with an excellent track record, right? So in 2017, I contributed a total of $54,000 to my 401k between my personal contribution, employer match, and the after tax contribution. And in 2018, I contributed a total of $55,000 because the contribution limit increased based on the inflation rate at the time. And in 2019, I contributed a total of $56,000, and my personal contribution was $19,000 that year, and the employer match was around $9,000 in the same year. So I contributed the remaining $28,000 biweekly to the after-tax portion of my 401k. So by the end of 2019, my total contributions without the earnings and interest were $165,000. And I felt pretty comfortable at that point to slow down on my 401k investment because I felt like I caught up a lot at that point, right? And the overall 401k performances between 2017 and 2019 were just incredible. In 2017, I made a 21% return on investments with $54,000. That was a great bull market year, if you guys remember that. And in 2018, the market was doing really well until September when the Federal Reserve, this was back in 2018, the Federal Reserve out of nowhere just raised interest rates. The market just started panicking in September and October, which ended the year with a negative 4% return. And I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, let me know in the comment section down below. I remember when Trump yelled at Jerome Powell and told him that he's going to fire him if he doesn't lower the interest rates. And I thought that was pretty funny. But they ended up lowering the interest rates again going into 2019. So when people panicked in 2018, I just bought their shares, right? Because in 2019, the market went sky high. It finished even better than 2017 with a 31% return. And that was just in the S&P 500. But I had other investments in my 401k that still finished with a 31% return. My tech stocks like Tesla and Meta just blew up and gave me some incredible returns. So I ended up finishing that year with over $225,000 between the cost basis, earnings, and dividend reinvestments. That's when I actually paused on the after-tax contribution because starting in 2020, I just did the maximum employee contribution and got the employer match because I felt like I had too much money tied up in my 401k. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to balance my net worth between my retirement assets, real estate, and cash reserves. And I also felt pretty comfortable that I had accumulated over $200,000 in my 401k in a short period of time to catch up on all the years that I didn't get to invest when I was in debt. And today, I have over 7 figures in total assets thanks to those years when I went very aggressive with my retirement and non-retirement investments. And when people panicked in 2018, when the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, I bought more investment assets. And I was happy to buy their shares. In 2020, when COVID-19 shut down the entire world, I bought more stocks because I knew I was buying those assets at a discount. When the bear market hit in 2022, due to high inflation and the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, I picked up more shares that people didn't want because I understood the long-term growth. Do you honestly think that Apple, Microsoft, Google, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway, or JP Morgan Chase will go bankrupt? If they all go bankrupt, we're going to have a much bigger problem than the stock market. We would probably be looking at a total economic collapse if the S&P 500 companies file for bankruptcy one by one. The chances of that happening is almost slim to none.